I'm JC the NP, back with another video. We're going to discuss scope of practice today and understanding scope of practice. In order to understand scope of practice for nurse practitioners, pretty simple. You need three things. First, you need a population focus. Second, you need education. And third, you need training. Okay, those are the three tenets of the scope of practice for a nurse practitioner. Population, so it has to be in the right, for lack of a better term, age group. Okay, we call it a population foci. Education, have to be properly educated, and you have to have the appropriate training. Now, does this mean that all NPs with the same credentials will have the same education and training? No. There is a baseline education that is received when you're in school. This does not limit your scope of practice. If you have appropriate education and training, then you can perform additional tasks, skills, but you cannot go outside your population focus. That's the one thing that you cannot expand scope of practice wise. Now, there are quite a few misunderstandings on this and quite a few additional adjectives that are often added which are not part of our scope of practice. The first one is setting. Setting is a big mistake that people make when it comes to our scope of practice. There's even program directors, for instance, a program director in Ohio who is attempting to get the state scope of practice changed because she does not understand the base scope of practice, which is population, education, and training. Okay? Setting is not a portion of our scope of practice at all. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make, is they try to adjust it or add a setting to it. That's not part of it. There's only three things. Pretty simple to understand. However, there is lots of confusion on this, which is why we go over it. And if you look at even our consensus model, it only limits to population, education, and training. Another mistake people make is adding in the quote formal adjective. The formal adjective is not in our scope of practice, guys. It's just not there. So now, when you take on an additional role or additional duties, you need to make sure you have the appropriate education and training. Oftentimes, this is easiest way to get that is from additional formal education. For instance, when nurse practitioner changes when they go from an outpatient area to an inpatient area, the easiest way to prove competence for that is adding in an acute care. However, remember that acute care is an addition to an adult NP or a pediatric NP prototypically, and those do not change your population, okay? But it is only additional formal education. Remember, formal is an adjective that is not required when it comes to discussing scope of practice. We have to understand what scope of practice is before we can move on. Now, that being said, you do need to make sure that you verify with your board of nursing to make sure that they are in agreement, because there have been many that have changed their perspective based off of poor information that they've been given. All right, that's it for today. You have any questions, anything else you want to talk about, hit me up. You can email me at jcthenp@yahoo.com. That's jcthenp@yahoo.com, or leave comments in the comment sections. Look forward to talking to y'all next time.